Alright guys, it is time to check out the brand new Yubel in action. Let's check out the gameplay. So the first gameplay is going to be Yubel versus Yubel. So to start off with, what are the basic combos of the deck? The goal is to get out their boss monster as quickly as possible, making your opponent take all the battle damage, but you can actually make them take damage even with skill drain, even with your effects negated, because Nightmare Pain, well, that's what it simply does. It makes it so you're able to destroy a dark monster in your hand or field, and then you get to search out a card. Most of the Yubel stuff, you destroy one, another stronger one comes out. So this is the go-to play. So what is the bread and butter of the deck? It's to make Spirit of Yubel as quickly as possible. So how this card works is can't be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage from involving this card. And if it's destroyed, you summon another one of your Yubels that is banished or in your hand, deck, or graveyard. So you basically have to reoccur the whole sort of Yubel lineup. And then on top of that, once per turn, you can only use each effect of it once per turn. Then when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand. So it's like a hand trap too. And if this card is special summoned, you get to take a spell or trap that mentions Yubel and either add to your hand or set it to the field. Which most of the time you want to get Nightmare Pain because this is a very important card. It lets you pop so you can go through your Yubels to get out the one that you want. And then it also forces your opponent to actually attack, and then your opponent takes any of the battle damage. So that's why this deck can be very, very powerful, even with something like Skill Drain up on the board. This card is just so amazing for them because they basically have to get rid of two different things. Now, the downsides of the deck is basically the smaller monsters that go into Yubel, which is going to be something like this. They can start negating these, and then you don't really have any insane follow-up plays, with the exception of maybe like a Super Poly to really pop off. But you also have Eternal Favorite that lets you get one of your Yubels that is banished from your graveyard. So even if your card effects go away, it's just kind of just bring out Yubel. That's kind of the whole point of the deck. And it's an archetype where it has a very strange matchup because, well, in the Yubel versus Yubel, you got 0 attack. So the goal would then to be giving your opponent the Geist Grinder Golem, and then you'd be able to crash into the Grinder Golem, and it will actually heal you and damage them. So basically, you gain 3,000, they take 3,000. So he goes ahead and makes the fusion, and this card is pretty nasty because once it comes out, you're going to be able to burn your opponent for a lot of damage. And on top of that, it has the effect where it can't be destroyed by battle card effects, and you take no battle damage from battles involving this card. And if this card battles, you get to inflict damage to your opponent equal to the monster's attack. Since this card also is negated, he's just going to go ahead and GG out. The Yubel matchup in the mirror match is very, very funny. But yeah, the Golem is a very important card. Now, this next set of matchups are actually amazing. I actually had so many more gameplays. I just deleted them because I didn't feel like that they were super hype. But now that we've shown off just like the raw gameplay of Yubel versus Yubel, let's check it out against this guy that's playing some Dyed Dark Magician, which is actually surprisingly not that bad. I wouldn't consider Yubel like an S tier deck to combat some of the best decks in the game because, well, it simply doesn't have enough stuff to deal with negations. That's why some decks you could see them play like Lightning Storm, Dark Hole, you can run Swords, anything to just like one card, flip all your opponent's stuff face down, and then just start slamming into it with Yubel and force them to take all the damage. So this one over here is going to show you how good Imperm can be if they don't happen to have the right cards. So he's going to go ahead and actually activate this card, which I thought was pretty cool. So he's using Fusion Dispatch to reveal some sort of like, where is it, some like Neos card. Yeah, so Neos Kluger requires Yubel, so he just gets out Yubel instantly right there. He activates Eternal Soul, and like even though there's some cards where it lets you resummon or add your Yubel that's banished, you still kind of lose out. And so he also has that summon limit to deal with, but Nightmare Pain activated, so he's going to pop, be able to potentially get some extra bonuses. He flips everything face down to maybe have the next turn with the Spirit of Yubel. Again, remember that hand trap coming out, so he's going to be able to special summon a Dark Magician with the Dark Magic Circle. Once Nightmare Pain goes away, the deck falls apart honestly very, very fast. So he's going to go ahead and summon the Spirit of Yubel, activating strike, but now it's getting impermed, and on top of that, there's no more Nightmare Pain because it would force them all to attack, and your opponent would take all of the damage. You'll see later what happens with Skill Drain as well. He gets out another Yubel because that's what Yubel does, and he's going to go ahead and get rid of that. That Yubel actually dies, and he's not going to be able to get out any more because of summon limit, unfortunately. Because all the Yubels, when they are destroyed via, well, this is supposed to make it so you take no battle damage, and it can't be destroyed with battle, but obviously, in case effects, it's kind of going to be a sad panda. Anyways, next up, he's setting another Nightmare Pain because it's what you need in the deck, and he's going to go ahead and force his opponent to take all the damage. Then he's going to activate Dark Hole so he can cycle and bring out something else. So Diabell's going to activate that, and he's just like, oh, well, that card's kind of a problem. So I would say Summon Limit actually hurts the deck a lot, so that is one counter to the deck. But of course, I'm going to show you guys how good the deck can be over here. And also, I haven't seen any gameplay of the Diabell, like Dark Magician. There's a few cards that just haven't still come out in the TCG over here, like Sinful Spoils. But we're here to talk about the Yubel stuff. So this is another card that's important for the archetype. It's called Mature Chronicle. You get to place some counters on. So this is with Skill Drain. You can see how good the deck is. So each time a Yubel or Yubel monster is summoned or monster that mentions it, you can place a Chronicle counter. If you put 5 on it, you can remove 5 to special summon a Yubel, add a banished card from your deck to your hand, banish a card from your deck, destroy a card in the field, or add a Super Poly. Yeah, Super Poly is pretty insane in this deck because, well, once you see the summon requirements, you're going to be like, wow, this has actually got some potential because it is actually really good. Maybe here, let me just go over it really quick. It requires Yubel and +1/+ effect monster on the field. So it's like literally just free in the deck. And then so now you're going to see the ultimate Nightmare come out. So he's just going to go ahead and keep on slamming into the opponent. And this card's going to also make your opponent take damage. So you can just burn your opponent. And that's kind of like what Yubel wants to do. This last gameplay is the best. I saved the best for last, guys. Yeah, you can run a lot of different things in Yubel that are really good to shut down your opponent. Again, cards that just one card, flip everything. Regeki, Dark Hole. I mean, Dark Hole's better because destroying your Yubels is pretty great. And you guys are going to be able to see the Geist Grinder Golem in action in this gameplay. And then Swords, again, it just flips everything face down because you still make your opponent take all the battle damage even if it's in defense position. So that can be kind of good. He makes a Flare Metal because the problem with this deck is it not only needs to special summon quite a bit, so cards like DD Crow, Maxi can all hurt the deck very, very easily. And then on top of that, when you have Flare Metal, anything that's activating, again, you would activate several cards. You might like lose half your HP very, very fast. So he's going to go ahead and search out a card. He's going to add a Diabell Star. And activate the effect for search, going for the instant fusion play so he can prevent any other hand traps maybe from being activated, because that's what Millennium Eyes does. He negates this effect, so he can't use it, but it doesn't really matter. It would just negate whatever would come out. So this is one of the key cards in the deck, the Samsara. You just go ahead and special summon a Yubel, you go for Spirit, and then you're going to see him activate Spirit's effect over here to set the Nightmare Pain. It's pretty much Nightmare Pain, Spirit, Yubel. That's kind of like the go-to. You pop it, and then you get that effect of Spirit Yubel, then you summon the regular old school Yubel, then you can give your opponent the new Grinder Golem. So this is where, like, the mirror match, this is kind of what you want to do. And he's going to go ahead and also special summon a Spirit of Yubel over here. Let's go ahead and see what's going to happen. He's going to go attacking the Grinder Golem. So this is what's interesting that happens. You gain the 3,000, and then your opponent takes the 3,000. So basically, you're making a 6,000 difference every single time you go for it. So now he's going to make his opponent take another 3,000, and he goes ahead and goes into Ravenous Tarantula, and then goes into, well, hold on, let's go to the end. We're going to see the number 77 Sins, which is pretty good over here. It has an awesome ability to detach true materials and banish as many special monsters your opponent controls as possible. Well, that's a pretty good effect, right? He's also got this. It's going to go away because it was instant fusion. He still has Skill Drain over here, and this is going to be a 4,000. And I don't know if the Dark Magician can really bust out anything that's more than that. He throws with the Skill Drain. That's going to be pretty much a GG for most players at this point. And he's got Rivalry as well. Not that there's going to be too many things that he needs to really worry about too much in his deck, but well, this card is still going to be very, very good, and he's going to be able to just pop his own card, search out the whatever card's going for it, and you can activate that under Skill Drain, which is insane, and then he goes for Spirit, and he just forces your opponent to take all of the damage. Remember, Nightmare Pain forces your opponent to actually take all of the damage as well. This card, and it's just basically slam, and it almost reminds me of, like, if you guys remember the Daigustos, where they would just slam their monsters in, and that's kind of the way it plays. And on top of that, if they destroy your cards, most of the Yubel stuff will just reoccur and bring something back. That's kind of how the archetype plays. So now that you guys have seen some gameplay, shout outs to Player00 and as well as Dilo over here. I guess this guy's name was blank. But these are the two different builds that you guys saw in the gameplay. I know, like I said, there is Maxi in here, but you don't have to play. It's not like the deck doesn't function without it. It's just because, well, it's an OCG deck at the end of the day, at least as of right now. I'm curious to know, what do you guys think of the deck? Do you guys think it's very good? Do you think it's bad? I think that the deck has a little bit of potential to be like kind of a more of a fun deck that you can, sometimes pop off, but it's not going to be consistent. Like turn one, like your board is, well, you can throw out Nightmare Pain and force them to attack everything, but more than likely a good player will bounce back things. They're going to get rid of your other cards and then eventually get rid of Yubel, and then the deck falls apart quite fast if you have some sort of non-targeting removal. Yeah, the deck definitely isn't super strong, and on top of that, you can actually wreck the deck very fast if you have any side blocker or any of like the cards that you just name one card and it just falls apart. Anyways, that's my personal thoughts on the deck. You guys can let me know yours down below, but I'll mouse over the card just in case any of you guys want to build this deck. But another thing that I didn't want to mention really quick, Dark Beckoning Beast is pretty good because it lets you normal summon a Fiend monster with 0/0. in addition to your normal summoner set. And well, look at all the Yubel stuff. Most of the stuff for the archetype, I guess the Golem is going to... Oh, this also wrecks the deck pretty hard. Dimension Shifter. There's just a lot of things where it's just normal, like, graveyard removal. I know you can spell summon from the banish, but it still hurts the deck. Anyways, that's going to go and wrap it up. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here, hit subscribe, turn on the bell if you want to see more new stuff in the future. And I'll update you guys if there's any other crazy stuff with Yubel that comes out very soon. Take care. I'm out. Peace.